Neverness to Everness has my attention for one simple reason. It feels different. Not different in a fake marketing kind of way, where every new game gets called unique for 2 weeks and then it turns out to be the same pitch with a new coat of paint. I mean, different in the sense that the game is showing us a stronger identity than a lot of games do this early. When I look at NTE, it's not just the flashy cuts and character shots and big trailer energy, but I see a game trying to make you remember its world, its mood, and a kind of vibe that it wants to own. In a space where a lot of games tend to blend together fast, it's worth paying attention to. So, in this video, I want to answer one simple question. What is it about NTE that makes it feel different right now? Not what we hope it becomes, and not what the community imagines it will become being. Just what we actually see and what is actually launching this month. Why I think it's landing. Because I think that's why people are circling this game right now. Not only does it look stylish, a lot of games can look stylish for 2 minutes. It's more interesting to ask whether those style points are worth looking at long term. With NTE, I think that answer is yes. It feels like the game wants its setting, its atmosphere, and its overall identity to matter as much as the surface spectacle. And that's the part that is pulling me in. For me, the first thing that stands out is that NTE doesn't just seem interested in making a strong first impression, it seems interested in making a specific first impression. And to me, that's a big difference. A lot of times, the reveal or the launch window material is designed to overwhelm you with motion and confidence. You get speed, effects, dramatic music, a few cool poses, and the general feeling that you're supposed to be impressed before you have time to ask questions. NTE definitely has some of that polish, but what makes it more interesting is that the material also seems to be saying, remember this place, remember this tone, remember how this world feels. And that's where the difference starts to matter for me. When a game can make you remember its atmosphere instead of just the action beats, it's usually a sign that it understands its own identity a little better. It feels less like you're trying to survive the news cycle and more like it's trying to claim space in your head. Even if you still have a lot of open questions about systems and structure, the long term depth, that kind of identity work matters. It gives the game a clearer shape. If I had to explain NTE's current appeal in one sentence, I would say this. It looks like a game trying to combine style with a more memorable sense of place. And that is a much stronger pitch than just, look how cool this looks. The official trailers and special program gave me a sense that the world itself is part of the hook. Not just the people in it, the characters, not the gotcha, not just the action, but the world. That matters a lot in games in this lane because they can end up feeling interchangeable from a distance. They might be polished or be visually impressive. They might even have great character design. But if the setting doesn't stick, then the whole thing starts to blur together in memory. From what I've seen about NTE so far, they seem to be aware of that. They seem to have a vision of a more lived in identity, something with texture and mood, something that feels like it wants to be recognized instantly. And to me, that's the most exciting part. Not that it looks expensive or loud, but that it wants to be distinct. That's a word I keep coming back to, distinct, different. A game can still disappoint after a great first impression. We all know that. We've been there, we've seen games come and go. But I'd rather watch a game reaching for a sharper identity than one that's only chasing a broad hype. Timing is a huge part of why this conversation works right now. During the launch window, or even just a major attention spike, people are trying to answer a very practical question. Why should I care about this one instead of 10 other games fighting for my attention? I think NTE's strongest answer is not the one that you would expect. It's not about features, it's about a feeling. The game appears to understand that if people can feel the identity quickly, they'll stay curious longer. They'll start asking better questions and they'll know whether the systems support the vibe. They'll want to know whether the world is actually enjoyable to spend time in, and want to know the promise of the trailers survives contact with the real game. That's a much healthier kind of curiosity than short term spectacle. Because the truth is, hype by itself burns out fast. Looking cool isn't enough anymore. Players have seen too many polished trailers. They've seen too many games arrive with big energy and then lose their shape the second people start talking about them. If I strip all of the noise away, with what I've seen, I think it's basically this: NTE wants to feel modern, stylish, and memorable in a way that goes beyond one mechanic or one character. And that's a much better pitch than just asking people to trust the production value. I think that's why what we've seen in the footage feels bigger than just a checklist of features. It feels like the game wants a recognizable identity. It wants to say, I know what that is, even from a short clip. That kind of instant recognition is hard to build. They've got a lot of work in front of them. It usually requires confidence in the world's tone, in the visual direction, and how everything is framed. Again, it doesn't guarantee that the final experience will fully deliver. We should be honest about that. A strong brand image is not the same as a strong finished game. Personally, I'm excited about NTE because it has an identity of its own. It's like a project that wanted to carve out its own space, its own lane, and be different from what was already on the market, and I think that ambition is visible. I like when the game seems interested in its atmosphere. I like when the environment feels more than background decoration. I like when the world has enough personality that you can imagine wanting to spend time there and not just beat the content or hit that skip button, although it does have a skip button. That's a different kind of appeal, and that's one of the reasons that NTE stands out for me. Because if a game can combine style and movement and world building and a strong urban identity into something cohesive, then yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. It's the kind of thing that you want to follow every new trailer that's going to come out more carefully. Look at all the new characters. You might be looking at the promo video today, and thinking, should I download this? Should I install it? I think, yeah, give it a shot. That's that's the feeling I got when I saw it for the first time. I don't think it's random. They've clearly put a lot of work into this, and I think people are reacting to the sense that the game might actually have a stronger personality than a lot of its competition. And to keep it grounded, there's still a huge difference between a strong identity and a fully proven game. We need to see how the experience holds together in practice and see how consistent the systems feel and how the pacing is, how satisfying the broader package actually is, and whether the world is as deep and distinct as we think. So, if I had to sum up my read on Neverness to Everness right now, it would be this: people are paying attention because the game feels like it knows what it wants to be. The polish is there, but what really comes through is a stronger sense of identity. The world has shape and the atmosphere sticks. The whole presentation is designed to leave an impression, and in a crowded space, that matters. That's why I'm watching it, not because every question is answered and not because the stylish trailer proves that the game will deliver. I'm going to be playing because there's enough here to suggest that NTE is reaching for something more focused and more memorable than the usual pitch. If the game can support that early impression, it could become one of the more interesting games to play. So, let me know what's landing for you so far. Are you connecting with the setting and atmosphere, or are you still waiting for more concrete proof before you jump in? Either way, NTE feels worth keeping an eye on because right now it seems to be determined to make an impression that lasts.